Good afternoon, everybody. Kyle Broda here from FullSkillsExamPrep.com. As always, we're here to help you pass your ICCRC Full Skills Exam, and a big way of doing this is through these sample questions. So here is your third sample question for the self-employed requirements. Alright, if you are following along in the test day data book, you know that this is on page 32 and 33. If you have the exam simulations, you know that we have quite a few questions in the exam simulations on this topic, of course, to help you pass the exam. All right, we talked about this during the seminar as well, of course. And we've linked up all of these further reading points for you as well. So be sure to really take a look through these ones, of course, to really complete your understanding of this very important topic. Okay, let's move on to your question of the day. I'll read it out to you just in case you are listening to this. All right, so we have Nima. Nima, 32, is a master's degree holder from the Iranian University of Fine Arts and is a pianist. He has been playing piano since he was 8, and all of his efforts paid off when he was chosen to join the National Orchestra. 3 years have passed and he has been fortunate enough to have had lots of performances around the world. While he was happy to travel full-time with the orchestra, he barely made enough money to support himself and his wife, so 2 years ago, he began tutoring students privately. He gained quite a reputation as an amazing teacher, and now he has a total of 20 students per week, which has given him enough money to have about $25,000 in savings. He calls you to see if he has a chance to move to Canada as a self-employed person in order to continue playing piano with orchestras and to set up a small business teaching children to play piano. You know that he speaks moderate English and basic French, and his wife can only speak Farsi. What will you tell him? He is not eligible because he does not have enough net worth. You have B. He is not eligible as he does not meet the intent and ability requirements. C. He meets all the criteria. And D. He hasn't worked as self-employed before, so he doesn't meet the minimum requirements. Alright, so when you're taking a look at this scenario here, what you're really thinking of course, are the important parts in there. So if you want to pause the video and just kind of reread this, that would be a good idea. And of course, what you have to do is really get those important parts that are going to help you answer the question. Okay, so if you paused the video and you read through it again, you probably notice that there are quite a few very important elements in this scenario. So we have the age, of course. We have that he's a master's degree holder. We have the role, of course, as a pianist, and what he performed in that role. So you can see that with this, of course, you're looking at the world class level. the National Orchestra, performances all around the world, full-time with the orchestra. And if he was self-supporting, so barely made enough money, which means that he made enough money, but he was self-supporting. And you have another role for him as well, that he began tutoring students privately. All right, with that second role, as well as being self-employed, you can see that he has about 20 students per week. When you take a look at his finances, you can see that he has about $25,000 in savings. And when you're looking at his intent, so he wants to come to Canada to continue the work that he's doing, and you have his language as well. Okay, so all of this information can be categorized, and you should start doing this in your head when you look at these types of questions. So you can see his age, education, experience. So he had two broad areas of experience. In his first role, like I said before, he was traveling with the National Orchestra. And in his second role, he was tutoring students. Okay, you're taking a look at the time, of course, anytime that you have experience. So you have 3 years that he's with the National Orchestra, traveling around. And for his second role, you have 2 years in there. The intent, of course, remember that intent is super important for this topic and for any topic, really, with your exam. And you have that the financial requirements. So remember that with self-employed, there aren't exactly any financial requirements needed other than the ones needed to start the business and to be self-supporting, etc. But it's not a specific number. However, remember that no matter what, he still needs a POF, the proof of funds. And finally, language. Okay, so when we take a look at the whole question again, we can start to work towards the answer. And again, if you want to pause the video again to really read through this question thoroughly, that is not a problem. You go right ahead. Okay, so the first answer we'll take a look at is A. He is not eligible because he does not have enough net worth. So we'll break this one down over here. And with A, you probably saw that in the previous video with the requirements, there aren't really any regulated net worth requirements for self-employed, except, of course, they have to satisfy the officer that they have enough money to settle in Canada, they have to have that proof of funds, of course, and that they have enough money to work towards becoming self-employed. Okay, so with that one, we can see that A is not correct. All right, so let's move on to the second option for your correct answer, which is B. And with B, he is not eligible because he does not meet the intent and ability requirements. All right, so you're going to have to explore this one. Remember that intent and ability is one of the requirements in order to be accepted as part of the self-employed category. And let's see how this works out when we look at the scenario. So remember that in the scenario, you have that section that says he calls you to see if he has a chance to move to Canada as a self-employed person in order to continue playing piano with orchestras and to set up a small business teaching children to play piano. So when we take a look at this in relation to the definition of a self-employed person, and remember that a person has to meet every requirement of the definition, not only one or two, but he has to meet the experience requirements, of course, and intention and ability requirements as well. So we could see that he met those experience requirements. And actually, he meets the intention and ability requirements as well, because what he wants to do is continue the business that he's doing right now, which is teaching piano and playing in orchestras. Okay. So with this, we could see that B is incorrect as well. All right, so now when we take a look at this question as a whole, you can see that you only have two more options really to explore in finding the correct answer here. Well, let's take a look at D now. So he hasn't worked as self-employed before, so he doesn't meet the minimum requirements. All right, if you want to go back and explore the whole question again to take a look at this, you can go ahead. All right, so when we explore this option of whether or not he has worked as a self-employed person before, the story, of course, gives us the answer to this. So with the first one, you can see that in blue, we have him as a pianist. All right, so a pianist is, of course, on the list of eligible occupations under musicians and singers, as you can see on page 32 of your test day data book. What we're asking, of course, now is to see if he is at a world-class level or not. He joined the National Orchestra, lots of performances around the world. Remember that just performing around the world doesn't necessarily mean he's at a world-class level. All right, but he made enough money, even though he barely made enough money, he made enough money to self-support himself and his wife from his work as a musician. Okay, so whether or not he is world-class isn't exactly important in there because he has 3 years of experience in that role. Okay, and as we carry on in the story, you can see that 2 years ago, he began tutoring students privately. Okay, and you can see he has 20 students per week. When we look at this as a whole, remember that the experience has to be within the last 5 years. And you can see that 2 years ago, he started his business tutoring students. And 3 years before that, he was performing and self-supporting from his musical ability. So he definitely meets those requirements in there. All right, at a world-class level, he did perform with the National Orchestra. But remember that at a world-class level means that he would be internationally known and accepted as world-class level by other world-class people. Or he could have the combination as well. So we can see that he's definitely worked as self-employed before. So D would be incorrect as well. All right, let's take a look at C now to see if that is the correct answer. Okay, again, when we take a look at his information and categorize it, so we categorized everything according to his age, education, experience, intent, proof of funds, and language. When we compare that with the definition of a self-employed person given by Regulation 88, we can see that he definitely meets those experience requirements, as we saw before, because he was self-employed from his musical ability. That employment, of course, is on the eligible occupations list. And he has the time in there as well that is needed. Okay, we can see that he has the intention and ability to become self-employed in Canada as well. Because he has been working as self-employed, he does have sort of that business side as well, because he's been tutoring students privately. All right, and to make a significant contribution to the same activities in Canada. So he has worked with orchestras performing internationally at a high level. In Canada, he wants to do the same thing as well, and his economic activities in Canada would be the same as he has been doing already. So you can see that yes, you are correct if you chose this answer. And if you did, a big congratulations to you. All right, so at the beginning, if you chose C as the correct answer, a big congratulations. You're on the right path to passing your ICCRC Full Skills Exam. And if you didn't, that's not a problem. That's what these videos and the exam simulations and all that are for, is to help you understand how to answer these types of questions. All right, as always, I'm Kyle Broda here from FullSkillsExamPrep.com. It's our pleasure to help you pass the ICCRC Full Skills Exam, and in general, just congratulations on choosing to join the ICCRC. It's a great organization. You're really going to love the work that you're going to do. For future RCICs and current RCICs, there's a ton of support out there, so be sure to visit our partners to see how they can help you. It's all free. All the support is free, of course, so IDP IELTS, Scotiabank, Integra, RCIC CPD as well. So just be sure to visit our partners and have a really, really great day. Thanks again.